does forgiveness mean to you? When you forgive someone, does it mean that you lost, that you condone the behavior, that what happened was okay? Here's the thing. The way that you define forgiveness is how you're going to feel about it. Welcome back to my channel, Your Endgame. I'm Rachel Friend, and I'm here to share tips and techniques to get you to your ultimate goal, your endgame. And I want to talk about forgiveness today because it's something that a lot of people struggle with. And I get it. It's tough being able to let something go. If you're able to look at it differently, it might change the game for you. So I want to offer you a couple tips on how to forgive and why you should. I want you to think about your definition of forgiveness. As I mentioned in the beginning, sometimes we think of forgiveness as making what happened okay, or that we're weak, or that we lost. And if you look at forgiveness that way, well, shit, I get it. You wouldn't want to forgive if you look like the smaller person. But here's the thing, that isn't the definition of forgiveness. That's your definition. If you look in the dictionary, forgiving someone means letting go of a mistake or a pardon that something or someone did. It doesn't say to forgive means that you're pathetic and that you're weak and that you've lost. That's meaning that we as human beings attribute to that word. Good news, because you can choose to define forgiveness however you want. You could make forgiveness mean that you are choosing to move on with your life, that you're choosing not to allow whoever or whatever it is control you anymore. Now I want you to consider something. I want you to imagine the life of a puppet, or I guess lack thereof. What do all puppets have in common? You there yet? None of them have control. In other words, there's always something else controlling them. The reason I bring this up because I think it's a good example when it has to do with forgiveness. When you're holding on to something, when you're unable to forgive, you are giving somebody else the joystick, the controls to your life. Because rarely are we ever living fully and wholeheartedly when we're resenting or holding on to something. It's affecting us in some way, shape, or form. So by being a puppet, you are allowing whatever went down with someone to then control you. I'll give you an example. A lot of people struggle with trust. Do you think we're born that way? Do you think children struggle with trust? No, they're some of the most trusting individuals out there. But through our experience, through our upbringing, we learn that there might be people who can't be trusted, and usually in the form of being hurt or lied to. And when we experience that, we don't want to experience it again. And so it's no wonder why we fear getting hurt, because it's happened before. So let's say you struggle with trusting someone and something happened to you in the past where someone lied to you, went behind your back. And now it's hard for you to open up and trust anyone else because you haven't gotten over what had happened. You haven't forgiven the person who first created this issue for you. I know it seems strange, but hear me out. When you make peace with the things that happened in your past, you're then able to move forward in the present. By being that puppet, when you hold on to something, when you don't forgive, you're letting whatever situation, whatever person hold the strings to how you live your life. So they wronged you and now they're affecting all of your other relationships. This person is now the reason you can't trust anyone else. How is that fair? So by forgiving, you're not making what happened okay. You're not even having a relationship with this person if you don't want one. You're simply letting go. You are getting that weight off of your chest so you could breathe again, so you could fully live. And you know what I'm talking about. If you've been holding on to something for a long time, it almost feels like a bag of bricks on your chest. Can you imagine living year after year holding on to that? If you haven't done any research on forgiveness, there's a ton of it that has to do with how it affects your health. Yeah, holding on to a grudge, not forgiving, could actually affect your body, your well-being. Why do that to yourself? Why let someone else have that control when it's in your power to let it go? So I'm here today to let you know that you can redefine forgiveness. You can choose for it to mean something completely different for you. I've had to do the same thing. I used to think that forgiving meant that I was weak, that I had lost, and that I would be looked down upon. It's just not the case. One of my favorite quotes by Gandhi: "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong." And I believe that. It takes strength to forgive, but I'll tell you, it brings you peace. So for me, I had to redefine forgiving, and I chose to make it mean that I regained control of my life, that I would no longer let the things that happened to me be a reason why I couldn't move on. And it stopped being about other people and it started to be about me. Choose to define forgiveness so it works for you. Whether or not you want to have a relationship with a person who wronged you, sometimes we have to forgive ourselves. Life is so short. Choose to let it go. I hope I've given you something to think about. If you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel. I would love that. And I hope to share more with you in the future. Take care.